Hey there, this is just a quick video on RTOPilot's LMS, which is what we've called Slate. So Slate is an online learning management system that we have built that comes as part of the platform with RTOPilot. And in here, you can basically build out your own online learning materials that you can either use as pre-learning or you can use it for ongoing training that you can release a specific content, quizzes and modules throughout the training journey. So if you have in-class sessions and you want to completely get rid of paper, then you can do that by using RTOPilot's LMS here. So we've got two sections here. There are courses and modules. You can imagine the modules are kind of like the building blocks of the content or the quizzes that your students are going to go through and complete. And a course is basically one or multiple modules stacked up on top of each other that is then attached to a class. And when a student enrolls into a class, then they have to complete that component of the course in the Slate online learning in order to have their certificate issued. So when you build out your online learning, the first thing that you want to do is basically create your modules. So there's a few different types of modules you can create. You can either create a standard module, that is if you're going to use RTOPilot or Slate's native authoring, and you can basically create and edit and update and make changes to your online learning directly from within Slate. Or you can have a SCORM module here as well. So if you've got SCORM files, you can upload them as well, and they'll basically sit in here as a SCORM module. So if you were to create a standard module, basically this allows you to edit and make changes to any of the content or quizzes in real time. And any of those changes will be updated live and provided the student hasn't already opened that specific module. So if you need to change a question or change some content, even if that training is in flight, provided the student hasn't opened this specific module, then they'll be able to update in real time as well. So there's a few different things that you need to do here. You can leave a name for the module. So for the name, this is basically what's going to show up on the student's student portal when they go to open their online learning. The description here gives a quick breakdown of what the actual online learning module is going to be. And then the credit expiry allows you to set different date periods so that the student doesn't have to redo this particular component of the online learning. So for this example, I'm just going to leave these ones here. And then basically down the bottom here, this is where you can then add the different activity types. So we've got a few activity types. We have content, images, videos, or quizzes. So content, you can basically add your own native content in here. You can build out whatever you want it to sort of look like. You can add images or links or different text types and create those however you see fit. Alternatively, if you want just a single image for a specific activity there, you can upload those here, leave a title and a description. If you want a video, you can either attach a YouTube URL if you have sort of like an unpublished video, or you can upload your own video here. And then lastly, we have quizzes. And with these, you can basically build out your own question bank for your students to complete. You can set up different passing percentages. You can set up different feedback types, whether they get the feedback after each question at the end of the quiz or none at all. Then here you can choose to allow them to retry only the failed questions or allow a progression while the students are awaiting marking if there are short answer questions that your trainers or assessors are going to be marking as well. So from here, I can add a whole host of different question types. We've got matching, hotspot table, fill in the blanks, multiple choice. You can go through these and add these as you see fit. You can enter your questions here, enter the options, and then the answers on the right-hand side here as well. So you can build out as many questions as you want for the quizzes. If you do have any short answer questions, then basically you can leave the question here. The students will be prompted to respond to those, and your trainers or admins will be able to mark those in their trainer or admin portal respectively. Once you've built out your modules, then you can basically create your courses. So you can imagine the courses are kind of built up of one or multiple of those modules, and you can imagine they're kind of like the chapters of your actual training. So from here, there's two different options. We've either got sequential modules or flexible modules. And basically sequential modules means that the student needs to complete those in order. So 1, 2, 3. Or flexible modules mean they're open at any time and the student can jump in and access them whenever they need to. So if I do a sequential module of this first aid module 1, and then I also add the first aid module 2, the other option that I have here is having delayed release. And the delayed release essentially allows me to actually release these modules whenever the trainer or the admin see fit. So if you want to build out a whole host of different modules and you only want the students to complete, let's say, 2 of them prior to class, then you can set them up here. And let's say we're going to complete the first aid modules prior to class, but we only want the CPR module to be completed during class, then I can turn that onto a delayed release. And what that means is when the students go into the student portal, they will have access to this component here of the 2 sequential modules that are actually open, and then the delayed release one will need to be released by your trainers at a given point in time. So once I've built out those courses, I just need to give it a name and a description here. And then once I save that, I can then attach that to a particular class, and your students will be able to complete it when they enroll. So that kind of covers the main points of the Slate Online Learning LMS. If you've got any questions or how that fully integrates with RTOPilot, always feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to discuss or jump on a call to chat through in a bit more detail. Thanks.